friends, welcome to Rapid Flow. My name is Eric, I'm the founder. Today we're going to be taking an in-depth look at the Infinity Bundle. This just came out. We're going to be checking it out on Ableton, but it's also available on Bitwig, FL Studio, and Logic. Okay, so what is the Infinity Bundle? In essence, it's our Rapid Flow template, which we've already sold to over 4,000 customers to great feedback. And one of the questions we kept getting is, can you add more pre-processed instruments? So as you can see in our studio, we have a lot of hardware synths and hardware outboard processors. And what I've gone ahead and done is recorded a lot of these synths through the hardware and pre-mixed them so that they work perfectly in the template. Rather than talk about it, let me show you what it sounds like, and then we'll dive into the details. So let me take you through the template quickly so you have an overview of what you have. If you bought a smaller bundle that does not have the Infinity, but maybe you just bought like the low-end bundle or something, there'll be less in your template. So what every template shares in common is what you see on the left here. This is basically 8 channels that you can use to process your tracks and to make sure that, hang on a second, we're going on here with some very serious reverb. Let me just take this down a little bit here. Here we go. So what you can do with these 8 first tracks is create track sketches incredibly quickly and just drop your parts in there. All of them have pre-processing already so that you immediately get a very loud mix. Now the stuff that's new in the Infinity Bundle is everything that you see on the right here, starting at this red track. All these instruments are new. So you get analog kick drums, melodic kick drums, hi-hats, shakers, snares and claps, toms, and then 5 different basses. And the interesting thing is that all of them have been, let's see, where am I getting this high frequency stuff from? Hang on a minute, let me go somewhere where it's a little bit less full. All of these have been pre-processed using outboard gear. So for example, a great example of this is the toms. What I did is I sampled the Electron Written Mark II that I have in the studio through a lot of outboard gear here. Because yeah, like if you've worked with electronic toms, they're usually very overpowering and they just completely kill the low end of your mix. So what I did is I sculpted them so that they fit into the mix using the outboard gear, and yeah, you get this punch and the quality of outboard gear. So let me show you what they sound like so that you can get a clear impression of how they cut through. There's an example of the toms. At this moment, I'm using, what am I triggering here? I'm using a 53 Hertz tom and a 95 Hertz tom. So yeah, the toms are in there, for example, so that you can choose the ones fitting to your track. As an example, we've really tried to think this through as much as possible. So the basses are also the super nice and interesting thing here. For example, this is a Roland System 100 clone that I have modules of in the studio. And it's all set up already so that you can tweak it using the macros really easily. Here, check it out. Then there is, for example, another bass here that I like a lot, which is from the Electron Rhythm. Let me show you that. So yeah, that for example is great for cutting through a busy mix. And as you will see, for each of the basses there are 4 variations. What I did is I recorded them with the filter open, filter closed through the tape machine. You'll see it here written on the instrument, and then direct again through the Neve processor that we have here in the studio, and then through the tape machine with the filter closed. So lots of different variations of each instrument. Yeah, and it's all pre-mixed. It's super easy for you to come in here and create your track foundation. Of course, all of these are MIDI instruments. These are not loops, so you can make these your own. And the idea was to give you a foundation on which you can build your tracks super quickly using very high quality note-by-note sampled instruments. So if I go in here, I can show you. This was sampled note by note. So every note on this synth is its own sample. I didn't span any samples because I wanted this to be, yeah, like the end-all be-all of all the synths that I have in the studio here. And when I check this against the synths running in real time, there is literally no difference. It sounds exactly the same. It's all pre-processed. So the wonderful thing about running something like RapidFlow is I went through the self-discipline of 3 months of creating sample packs, which you always kind of intend to do as a musician, but I don't know, I never managed. But now I really had a reason to. So I'm going to be using these myself a lot because it's literally the best synths that I have in my studio, captured in such a way that, they're there to easily use for the future. Let me show you this mini tower bass. So this one's a bit more for like long sustained basses. Again, tweaking them is super easy. So there's different variations. With and without tape, with the Neve or direct to the tape machine. Then there is the rhythm bass, which is what we started with when we were doing the opening of this track. Let me show you. Yeah, and that's like one of the punchiest dry basses that I've found so far. And again, tweaking it is super easy. So this is a System 100 sampled through the tape machine with a closed filter. Yeah, super easy to use. What else do we have here? We have a System 100 bass through the Neve master bus processor, again with a closed filter, but I also did capture it with an open filter, so you can use it, for example, for fast 16th basses. Let me show you. Tweaking it is super easy. I've just put the 4 things on the macros here that you will always need to get started. You have your filter frequency, the amount of frequency going to the envelope decay, and the envelope release. With that, you can adapt it to pretty much any situation that you're going to be using. And then at the end here, we have 2 further basses. One is an ARP 2600 clone that I've sampled here from the studio. It's over there in the corner. Oh, it's going to come up later. Let me show you what this sounds like. And then there's an Oberheim SEM type bass if you want to do like a long sidechain bass. So again, this is all already preset for you. It's super easy to use. But again, all of this is just MIDI clips, right? So you can make this your own. And the idea of making this was giving people a base for creating a really loud, powerful, punchy sounding track. If you have a listen and look on the meters here, you'll see that it's really loud already and really just ready to go. So yeah, you can just come in here and drop your leads, your melodies, and your harmonies, and you're all set. So this is all the new stuff that's come into the Infinity bundle. If you got a smaller bundle and you want to upgrade, drop me a mail on the store, support@rapidflow.shop, and I'm sure we'll figure something out for you. So I've given you a high-level overview now. Let me give you a bit more details of how to use this. And I think the most essential thing to show you first is how to set up your controller. So as you can see here, I'm running an APC 40 Mark II, and that's enough. Anything basically with 8 faders and 8 rotary encoders is enough to control this live set with. So the first 8 tracks are automatically assigned by the APC to the first 8 tracks on the template, so that's easy. And this is where you can normally build up your tracks just by dropping in your audio clips in here. And I've made 4 demo tracks just to give you an idea of what the template can sound like and to show you the workflow. So let me load one of those. So as you can see here, this is just clips to give you an impression of what it sounds like. And all of these tracks have settings basically already in them. So as you can see here, there's some kicks, snares, hi-hats, and claps loaded into the very first channel, which is sort of the basic core that you get for creating your rhythm section, but a lot of thought has gone into the engineering of each of these tracks. This is the bass track, this is the groove track, for example, for toms. This is for percussions, leads, harmonies, vocals or hooks, and atmospheric or effect sounds. And the idea is that if you use something back here and you create a cool loop, that you resample it using the compose track. Here you go. And then once you're done with that, you just drop it into the fitting audio track here in the beginning, and you're ready to go. And you can build up your track that way really quickly. You're committed to audio, so you're not going to lose that sound in any way. And actually, running this template takes very minimal CPU performance. So right now I'm on 9% on an Apple, what's it called, MacBook Pro M1. I've ran this template on a 12-year-old i7 MacBook, and it runs at like 30-40%. So you can take this out live and not worry that it's going to nuke your CPU. Okay, so that's the demo tracks that are part of the normal RapidFlow template. You can see all the processing that's gone in them. And this is the bit that I think is just so fun to work with, is the super channel. So the super channel, in essence, is something that everything gets routed through. So you can see every single sound on the template, besides a few of the effect return tracks, are going to the super channel. And in the super channel, you will find various effects with which you can tweak your track in real time live. Let me show you. Let me switch over to this here so you can see at the top of my APC here, the 8 rotary encoders there are assigned to the super channel and effects related to it. So using that, I can very quickly control the set. Let me show you. Is happening in real time with the super channel. And if you work with your clip launches and maybe make yourself a couple of different scenes, it's super easy to do like a track intro, a build up, a main part. Here, let me show you. Looks like I jumped to a different track there. Sorry about that. All right. What was I going to show you? The super channel and how it works. So it's changed a little bit from the V2 of the RapidFlow template. So there was initially a problem that when you bypass the super channel, the way that I've been doing that is using a foot switch I hope I can show you here quickly. Great trick learned from Frank Wiedemann. Thank you, Frank, whose masterclass I can super recommend. So what this foot switch does is it bypasses the entire super channel. I've just assigned it here, you know, Apple or Control M, click the button that you want to assign it to, click your foot switch, it's connected to the APC, and then you can use that to bypass the whole thing. However, it used to be that when you did that, the delays and reverbs would get cut off because they would just be hard bypass. So we've changed that now. So there's a little bit of a difference in what you need to do to assign your Akai MPC or whatever controller it is that you're using. Let me show you the process because this is really the important part of being able to use the templates to its fullest, which is MIDI. Okay, when you have your APC, let's ignore the MIDI mix for now because that's just more faders that I'm using. When you have your APC hooked up, make sure that you click remote on whatever control surfaces you're using here, because otherwise the APC's rotary encoders at the top here are always hard assigned to pan, which is pretty useless, I think. So that way you can use them actually to control something different on your set. And this is the way the assign works. The first rotary encoder is assigned to the low cut. The second rotary encoder is assigned to the high cut. The third to this washout. And the fourth to this reverb. And then finally the seventh is assigned to this phaser. So if you assign those did I say reverb? Wait a minute. So the first is low cut, second is high cut, third is washout, and seventh is phaser. There used to be other things here, but this is why I've written here, check out the video manual. That's no longer the case. So don't assign other rotary encoders here. Let me show you where they actually go to now. Let me open up the Sense. Okay. So the washout is this effect that I'm sure you know, but let me just show you quickly what it sounds like. High cut, low cut, phaser, right? So those effects I think are clear. You can do a lot with those on stage. Now, what's changed is that the washout button, I realize now I should have set up a camera for capturing my desk. Hang on a second, let me control it properly. All right, so low cut, high cut, washout, and the phaser. That's what we've assigned so far. Let me show you those assignments. So if I rotate, that's the low cut, that's the high cut, here's the washout, and here's the phaser, okay? So you're just gonna assign those on your macros here. The stuff that's new is that now we are sending to the delay effects the way you would properly normally do it from the super channel Sense. So let me show you what that looks like. If I head on over here, you see these assignments here? That's what's changed in the V3 now of the template. The reverb is now on send 1 here. So if you look at the reverb knob here, it's no longer on a macro, but it's up here. The delay 1 is here. And the delay 2 is right there. And that means that when you send sounds now from the super channel out anywhere, and you bypass the whole super channel to get back to your mix after a big build-up, your delays and reverb tails will still sound out. Here, have a listen. And then you can just take your time once you've hit bypass on the foot switch to bring everything back. So much easier to use, sounds much better, a lot of help from the Rapid Flow community to figure out a way to do this better. So thank you for that. Really appreciated the help with this because I was a bit stuck on this with my mind. Cool. So what you need to do to assign is that the washout not only gets assigned to this macro, but also to D. So you just click on your Ableton. Let me remove that. Let me remove that as well. You click on the macro, you turn your washout knob, you click on Send D, and you turn your washout knob again. So that's the assignments. Let me go through them one more time to just show them really quickly. Verb is going to send A, delay 1 is going to send B, delay 2 is going to send C, and finally the washout is combined both on the macro and on send D. And the reason why we've done that is because there is now a cool kind of sidechained reverb that's part of the washout. Let me show you. Happening because the washout sends to send D at the same time as it's going up, and this is this so-called cosmic reverb, which is like a massive reverb with a sidechain on it. And this sidechain, all sidechains on the project are getting their sidechain signal from this key track at the end. So if you ever need to sidechain anything, just grab this compressor from the key track, copy it onto whatever track you need to sidechain, and you're done. Cool. Okay, so that's the assignment of the super channel controls settings. Yeah, like I said, the first 8 faders are always hard assigned by Ableton to these 8 faders here. So that's what you can use to build your track and to control it live. And then there's a fun thing here on the master, because having a master on stage is not super useful. So this is actually assigned to the low cuts. Here you can see it. So every kick sound and every bass sound on the template has a low cut filter, and it's assigned here. You see? So on the kick drum here, you can assign your master fader right here. On the bass, it's the same. You can assign it right here. Let me show you what that sounds like. So super easy to do like little build-ups and stuff like that. And it's the same if you head on over to, for example, the toms. Any instrument that has a lot of bass, the master fader has been assigned to that, so you can remove the low end from your track. Yeah, just to be able to tweak stuff a bit. So you can just go through the instruments, and if you see master fader, just assign your master fader, and you'll have full control of your low end, so you can make build-ups really quickly. All right, we're getting through this. I know it's a lot, but you can download this video, you can watch it on YouTube. Once you get this set up and you practice with it a little bit, you'll see how incredibly powerful it is and how fun it becomes to not have to draw this stuff in as lines on your screen, but to just do it in real time. It's incredibly fun. I know it's a little bit of hassle, but I really recommend it. It's super worth it. So something I wanted to show you from the super channel that I just missed is that the bypass foot switch, which is connected here on my APC, it's just a very boring, typical M Audio foot switch. It's on Toma and it's like 20 bucks. It's this little thing here. You know, you can click it and bypass stuff with it. You see right now it's bypassing all the super channel effects. You can see it right here. This is the way to get back to your arrangement if you've made a massive drop with effects and you need to get back. What I wanted to show you is that the first 4 effect slots have a utility on it that it has a mute also assigned to that foot switch. So if you see, if I click the foot switch, this gets muted. The same on these channels. Let me open up these effects a bit so you can see what they are a bit better. It's the super channel reverb send that you can remember maybe from here, right? That's it. And when I click the foot switch, because I want to go back to my original mix, I wanted all the sends to all of these effects to become bypassed, so that you actually get right back to the actual mix that you've made. So on these first 4 gray effects, you see that there are mutes on all of them. So just route your foot switch, Apple Control M, you click that thing, hit the foot switch, and here's a small detail. On Ableton, you need to change the way that this responds. click 0 here, 1 here, that's the parameter that you've just changed, because then it goes from on off. Otherwise it does it differently and then it doesn't really work. So you can see that was it. That's all you needed to do to set it up. The final two send effects is just a reverb and a delay that's always available to you. You kind of always need those when starting a track. So they're like nice preset reverb and delays at the end there, just to get you going. So that's that part of the setup. Let me think, am I missing any other parts? No, that's it. That's all you need to do. No, I am missing something. There's one final controller left on the APC that's not routed, which is this decay here. And that's actually routed to these hi-hats. As you can see, these are really long samples. And this is routed to this macro, which is hi-hat decay. You see? This affects every single one of these hi-hats within a certain limited range. Let me show you what that range looks like so that you can also make sure to copy it correctly. So if I go to this sample, let's have a look if I can find it for you. Kick subs, there's a lot of assignments going on here, as you can see. Super channel, bum, 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 bum. Well, let's see. My maximum is 749 on hi-hat 16, 345 on hi-hat up, and 2.29 seconds on hi-hat open. So that's roughly the numbers that you would need to hit. I'm a little surprised that I can't find them here, because that will make it much easier for you. Hang on a second, bear with me. Let me find those settings for you so you can just copy them, because I remember I took a long time actually to set those up so that they groove nicely. Here we go. Hi-hats, mixer, no, that's track volume. It's not what we want. Master fader. Hi-hat decay. Here's one. Okay, so that seems to be just very simple, 0 to 127. This is a washout. Hi-hat low cut. No, so I guess I just use those fully open, it seems. We click on this here. Okay. All right, so don't worry about that. You can just route your hi-hat decay here, and I think these will track correctly. But you've seen the maximum values here now. Now, why did I do this? It's a really cool little way to build up energy in your track. Let me show you. Let's just say to begin with, I'm just running, let me bring this up here so I can trigger this properly. I'm running my track. As you can see, I've brought in my open hi-hat now, and if I turn this decay, I can lengthen that open hi-hat. Way to control the groove of your hi-hats, and this is available only on this first drum track because the samples I made here don't have this super long, but it's actually enough if you have these for groove and then use this to give your track that final push. And creating long samples like this and mapping them the same, that's then something that you can do, of course. Cool, so that was the last controller that I still wanted to show you how to assign. Is there anything else super crucial that's missing? No, I think that's it. Let me show you the mastering chain quickly. I mean, this is plug and play. You don't really need to do anything with it here. But let me talk you through it quickly. There's an EQ that takes care of your frequency response. There's an OTT that does a lot to make the sound more punchy. Let's have a listen to these. Bypass the whole mastering chain. So as you can see, we're running the sounds pretty low in the channels. They're not loud. They're like between -18 and -12 dB full scale. And that may be super counterintuitive for some people, but I've realized this makes it possible to get a much better sound than if you're running your signal super loud in the channels. So trust me on this. I know it's a bit weird when you drop in samples from people and they're like full blast, full digital scale. Just reduce the clip, just grab that clip, pull the gain down until it fits into this signal flow and gain staging, because you'll get much better results. And also, if you remove your mastering chain, you have a really good loudness to send to a mastering engineer. You see it's like -12. They have lots of space yet to process stuff with Analog Gear or their plugins. Mastering engineers generally do not like to get files that are like peaking at -3 or -1 dB full scale. So let me bring in the mastering chain again. As you see on the OTT, the low end is bypassed. I've left that get through really clean, but there is some push happening on the mids and highs. There's a clipper in here which protects you from having really loud peaks that will affect your limiter in a bad way. Let's see. So for example, I've put these toms now, and in combination with the kick drum, let me bring in the kick here. I don't know why my Ableton is not starting clips in time. Sorry about that. I think I have it set up correctly, but I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So you see what this clipper is doing here is just grabbing the peaks where that kick and tom are maybe just going a bit too far over each other, and this means you can get a much better overall loudness on your track. So if you're seeing this clipper go all the way up here, then that something's definitely not right with your mix. But if it's just catching some peaks here, that's perfect. There's a bus compressor to just glue the whole track together and give it a little bit of push, and then there is a limiter, of course, to get your track loud. So that's what's happening on the mastering channel. Then we have a referencing workflow, and yeah, this is super simple the way that it works. Okay, let me get back to the Infinity demo track, something fresh. And the way this referencing workflow works is that the crossfader on the APC is assigned. Why are the colors so horrific on this? Hang on a minute, this is annoying me. I'm too OCD to deal with these colors. Give me a quick second here. Can we get these down a bit here? Yes, thank you. All right, that should be a bit better. Okay. So what the crossfader is routed as you can see, every track in this set is routed to A, except these technical tracks here which are not being used. You will not have this clock track here because this is just for synchronizing my studio, but everything else is routed to A. The only thing that's routed to B is the referencing workflow. And that means that you can listen to your track in progress through the super channel and the mastering chain, but your referencing workflow goes straight out to the master, so you can listen to things against each other, gain compensated. So I've put a track of mine in there as a reference to not get some YouTube content strikes or whatever. And let me show you how easy it is to reference your track in production against the reference track. So let me start something here which has a bit more parts. All right. Fully mastered track that's already been released. It's a track I did with Cuerpos Cósmicos, and yeah, you can see how close or not you are, and maybe this needs a bit more mids or something, but you know, in general, it's in the ballpark, it's close. So if you drop your own reference tracks in here, which I would super recommend, of course, you know, use WAV files, you can know exactly how close or far you are of the mark, because you're producing through a fully mastered chain that you can take off when you do your mix down, but while you're producing, you're actually hearing stuff, how it's going to turn out. And over the years, I've discovered that that is way easier for me to do than trying to just do a mixdown in the blind and hope that when all the processing for the mastering is coming on it, it's going to sound right. It just doesn't work for me. I like to be very empirical about this stuff, and if I hear exactly how it's going to sound with limiting and everything on it, for me it's much easier than trying to figure it out afterwards. And maybe a silly little anecdote on the side here, but someone pointed this out from our user group, and I didn't realize this until quite recently, but in the last years I've worked as a Scrum Master and Agile coach and consultant, and I applied a lot of the principles of that work to this template. So I want every sound in here to be proven to be empirically good. You can hear it and compare it against reference tracks. I want you to be able to create a track MVP, a minimum viable product, MVT, a minimum viable track, really quickly to be able to test it out in a club. You don't even have to sequence it. A lot of musicians I know and have done masterclasses with work this way. They just make clips and then they have it down with their controllers and mix the tracks live or sequence the tracks live on stage, see how people respond, and then based off of that know if they need to create a full track out of it or if it was a cool idea but it didn't really work. So with this you get the same workflow that a lot of really pro musicians use on stage to test their ideas before they build them into a track. So a very empirical approach to making music. Yeah, all the building blocks are there for you to be able to get like a foundation for your track that sounds really good without massive amounts of redoing effort. And yeah, one of the principles of the Agile Manifesto, it's super interesting if you're into kind of like, yeah, this kind of stuff, or this is kind of my background also in startups. But one of the principles, if I'm quoting it correctly, it's one of my favorites. So let me hope I get it together here. It's simplicity is the art of maximizing work not done. And that really hit home for me when I heard about it a few years ago. So the idea here, and this is also for my own necessity, is how often have I mixed an EQ, a kick drum or a bass to work together and a snare and blah. Like I figured, like, why don't I make something where all that is done and you can just build on top of that really quickly. And if you want to do a fully original kick drum or a bass, of course, do it, bring it in. But just to build out an idea quickly and test a melody or a hook or a cool structure, it's all there for you. And for myself, I'm going to be using this myself a lot also, like I said. So like the basic building blocks, it's almost like when you take an idea for a startup you have, and rather than building the whole infrastructure yourself on some server that you put in your basement, you just rent some stuff on a public cloud and validate your idea using whatever plugins they have available there, like Shopify or whatever, right? So sorry for this very nerdy technical IT excursion, but I just wanted to share the backstory of this with you and why the focus here is so much on speed, on agility, on getting things done quickly, on proving your ideas quickly on a dance floor before you invest way too much time in them. Because I've spent weeks and months on tracks in my past only to realize that when they were all completely done, actually the main core idea wasn't that strong, and it's just like a huge amount of wasted time. Using this workflow, I've been able to do tracks like 3, 4, 5 tracks in an afternoon and validate them the week after in a club. It's incredibly fun. You can see in our reviews actually that people write similar comments. So yeah, a very different approach probably for many of you for making music, but I can really, really recommend it. And the idea here is that once you have an idea that really works and you validated it, maybe in a club, maybe with friends, maybe with other musicians, whoever, your significant other, whoever is willing to listen to it, and they've gone like, yeah, this is actually really cool, you should totally make this into a track. Then the way that this works is, of course, you can turn it into a track, again, using like a very modern and quick workflow. Namely, you can use your controller to create a track in real time in Ableton's or Bitwig's amazing sequencing flow. I think also you can do this on Logic. I'm not sure. I don't know if I mentioned, but this is available for 4 DAWs, Ableton, Bitwig, Logic, FL Studio. So let me show you what that would look like, how you could create your validated idea into a track sketch really quickly that then you can sequence from. Okay, so let's say that I would like to take what I've set up now here as my basic foundation, and I would like to use this as, like my original idea of how I would like to start this track. So what I can do here now is I've selected the scene that I want to start with, you see? Cool. So I'm going to go over to the sequencing view, and I'm just going to hit record. And I'm going to sequence this track with effects and all that stuff, all the good stuff in real time. Let me just set up some cool effects for this bit. Okay, so as you can see, I've done some stuff on the super channel. I'm getting my foot switch ready on the floor so that I can bypass everything. And now I'm going to start my live sequencing using a controller. And believe me, this is so much more fun than doing it moving blocks around the screen. Something that I've become super allergic to. To each their own, but yeah, let me show you why I enjoy this process so much. Okay, cool. I think that will do for a demo. So yeah, I can now switch back to my sequencing view here. And yeah, like I don't need this reference track here, which got played a couple of times. The key probably yes. But yeah, there you go. There's your sketch of a track with tons of automation already done in real time. Let me see if I can show you some of this stuff. So yeah, let's have a quick listen. Yeah, you get the idea, right? So like, yeah, it's so easy to build up like a organically kind of developing song structure this way. And of course you can go in here and then move blocks around once you realize like, oh, okay, yeah, this was cool, but this came in too late or whatever, right? But you can get through like the brunt of a track in real time and have so much fun while doing it. And you can try like 5, 6 different takes of this and comp the takes or just, you know, work on it till you get something that feels really magical. My experience is you get to much more interesting and organic and alive feeling sequences than if you're trying to do this just rationally by moving blocks around. And at this point, I have to say a huge thank you to Sebastian and Frank Wiedemann and Sebastian Millert from Circle of Life, because I learned a lot of these workflows in their masterclasses. So guys, thank you very much. Really like life-changing to see how super pro guys that are fully working only in music for decades do things exactly this way. So yeah, changed my life and were a big part of the inspiration of making this workflow. I added all of my sound engineering experience, and as I told you in my little excursion, all of my nerdy sort of Scrum Master Agile experience to this to hopefully make something that enables you to make music much faster in a much more creative way. So we just checked out the referencing workflow. I know this is taking pretty long, but yeah, it's just there's a lot of stuff here for you. The compose section are just like MIDI and audio or resampling tracks where I recommend to you to just create your parts, and then once you have them finalized and they sound great, resample them and drop them into this part of the template. So right now I have two little melody lines going on there. So that's what I have just going on there. And then, yeah, at the back here are all the new instruments from the Infinity Bundle. There's the analog kick drums. These actually got updated. This is an older set that I already built, but it got updated that I made a whole new layer which was processed with API 2500 compressor and Wes Audio Prometheus. So you can find that layer here. This is the old classic analog kick drum layer. This is the samples denoised, and this is the raw samples. And you can also find the actual recordings from the devices in the audio downloads and in the file that you get if you want to do all this yourself. But yeah, it's kind of all there for you already. There's a set of melodic kick drums, just a very compact set. Like, we don't like to drop, you know, like 50,000 samples on your hard drive and be like, yeah, it's all there, good luck. Because like literally I've bought those packages myself. You know, I don't want to slag on anyone because there's a lot of great companies doing great stuff out there. I've bought multiple packages that are just like thousands of samples from everything you could imagine, and literally I have not had the time or the inspiration to go through them and to actually figure out what I can use for them, because just the process of trying to go through was exhausting. There's just way too much stuff in there. Like if there's like 808 kicks in there sampled through two pieces of outboard in like 64 velocity layers, like already there you've lost me. Like there's no way I have time and interest to spend that much time going through that to find the sound that I need. So our motto, what we wanted to do is make really small compact sample packs that just give you a few really good options, and use those to build something quickly. And every sound that we created had to be fire. Like I don't want to even begin to explain how long it took me to do this as a trained sound engineer, because I slaved away on these sample packs, literally like redoing and doing fixes and stuff on these for months to get them to the point where I could really say like, yeah, I put my name on this. I'm proud to say this is some of the best sounding instruments that I think are out there, because it's analog outboard, it's analog synthesizers, and it's been processed in a way with, you know, really good speakers, really good monitoring system. And yeah, I have 25 years of experience as a sound engineer and musician, so I've finally gotten to a point where I kind of know what I'm doing, and I wanted to share this with you so that if you're a beginner especially, you can learn from watching the way things have been engineered here, but more than anything, you can find a really quick way to get your musical ideas across. So hi-hats again, it's just 32 sounds. Shakers, it's, yeah, like, I don't know, what is it, 30 sounds. And let me give you a quick demo of how well all these sounds fit together. So right now we have the shakers going on here. Let me just change some out so you can see how cool they sound together. Go down here. So yeah, you see it's not like a ton of shakers, but they all work together, and all you have to do is work on your groove and your music. So as you can see, like, you know, here's my shaker loop, and yeah, there's like a little bit of, you know, space here to make this thing, like that's, I think, where the true work lies of, yeah, being an artist, is finding your groove, is finding the way you're going to make this all work together. Like all of the sound engineering stuff, there's a reason why musicians used to outsource the sound engineering to sound engineers, because it's bloody tedious, to be honest with you. It can be a fun process, but if I have to choose between writing cool tracks or spending all day sound engineering, I definitely prefer to write cool tracks. So my view on this, I know there's people that hate templates, but I hope that they see that this is not a template to just make cookie cutter music. There's no hooks or leads in here except for the demo tracks. It's only the foundational sounds that you need to then build up your track. We will never make leads or hooks. I personally don't like that also. But the foundation sounds are all here for you in very small compact sample sets. Let me show you these snares. Again, it's like 16, 19 snares. Again, I think they all sound really cool. And one little little thing that I did, being a sound engineer, knowing how tough it is to get a snare to sound good, the way these snares have been processed is that if you need them to cut through a really busy mix, you can just bring up the EQ here to make them much more forward. You see? But all of this has been done with outboard processing, so it's not harsh. And then so it's incredibly powerful. Like all the snares are mixed in such a way that this EQ setting will work for like kind of a subdued deep track like the one we're hearing now. But if you have a really full-on track, just open these EQs a bit and you'll feel them cut through. Like these were processed with a Purple Audio Action compressor, louder than Liftoff, Chop Shop, and. And then a really easy and cool thing is I've created something to sculpt your snare sound with, because we all know the snare sounds like shit always, but this is actually a really pretty easy way to get the snares to sound nicely. Let me show you. There's a low cut, there's a high cut, there's a reverb decay, and there's a reverb mix. With those things and this EQ here, you can get your snare to sound pretty much fitting in any situation. Let me show you. Maybe you wanted a bit more reverb. So you see how powerful this macro is. With this you can tune and blend your snare to your track so easily. You don't have to go in and do all this stuff by hand in each sample. Let me show you a couple of different samples. The 80s have called, they want the reverb back. Let me take this down a bit. Super easy. The toms I showed you kind of already. I think, yeah, Electron Rhythm Mark II, it's already boxed. But yeah, what I did is I sampled the tom from it from 36 Hertz all the way up to 159 Hertz. So you can just look for a tom sound in the range of where you need it. But yeah, like the low ones are insane and super cool to do stuff with, even less like alternative bass lines. Let me show you what these sound like if I take them all the way down to like the subsonic level. But the cool thing is that you can actually still use these without nuking your low end. Let me see if I can find this bass. All right. Let me solo this for you. If I show you on the spectrum analyzer, it seems like I've lost the camera already here. Okay, let me show you on the spectrum analyzer. So this is the tom that happens at 43 Hertz and at 36 Hertz. And you can see how low they are. But still, let me bring in the kick drum against this and have it listen. I don't want to begin to tell you how much sculpting it took to get these toms to sit at that frequency against kick drums. But yeah, I got it to work. That was like 2 days in the studio. So yeah, one of the really tricky things to do, it's done here, and it actually also works against the bass. Cool. Okay, I'm gonna just quickly change out a battery on this camera. Can we get it back? It lives! All right, cool. So we're getting through this now. My God, this has become long. I'm really sorry that this is taking so long, but yeah, there's just a lot of stuff to cover here, although we've gone through most of it now. Like I said, at the back here is 5 different kinds of basses with sub-versions inside. The Electron Rhythm is like super modern, fast. It's an analog bass, but it's just really clean. I really like that one for like 16th basses. Here, let me give you an idea of what that will sound like. Where is it? Of course, it would help if I start a clip. Then we have the mini tower, which I showed you was kind of more for like long groove basses, maybe like eighth basses. The System 100 is the Roland clone, super punchy, bone dry, great for full tracks, but also I really like the groove bass of that. I think that sounds really nice. Let me just remove these solos and go back to what that sounds like for you. This is one of my favorite sounds from the template. It's the System 100 clone through the tape machine with its closed own filter. I recorded it with the closed filter because it grooves different than if you're using the Ableton sampler filter. Yeah, and then we have the ARP and the SEM basses. The key, like I mentioned, it's just a very simple sampler doing a big fat kick drum. And if you need a side chain for anything, you can just route audio here to whatever plugin it is you're using from the key track, and you'll have something that's in time with your track. I've already done a sidechain compressor here so that you get a nice sidechain setting that you can just copy to any track and immediately have a sidechain on it. And that's it. We got it. We went through it. My goodness, 1 hour, but yeah, we managed. And yeah, the final thing here is this clock track. Don't worry about it. This is just something I use to synchronize my studio. It's not in the template. So this applies also to the Bitwig, FL Studio, and Logic versions. We were able to clone a lot of the functionality to those DAWs. All the sounds are present in those DAWs. But yeah, for example, FL Studio doesn't have such a cool looping workflow like the other DAWs, so that's missing there. But there's a cool explanation video from my friend who helped me to make the FL Studio pack, where he goes through all the setup already. I've done one for Logic and Bitwig already. So yeah. That's it. I'm very grateful for your time going through this with me. I hope you get a better idea of how to set up the template and how to use it and how you can create music in nearly real time using this production system, using these sounds. Like I said, if you bought previously like an older version and you really want access to the new sounds and the new effect settings and stuff like that, hit me up on the store chat. We'll definitely work something out. My goal here is to enable musicians and yeah, if you want to upgrade, definitely we'll sort something out so you get a better price. Maybe just to mention also that right now we are running a introductory price on this. There's going to be a Black Friday sale, but that price will be a little higher, and then this is going up to its regular price, which is $199 US. And I know that may sound like a lot, but the point here is you get proven compact sounds that I guarantee will make you faster in the studio and will lead to more finished tracks, not like a gigabytes big library of sounds that will take you weeks just to get through. We may run occasional sales on it, but I think considering you get access to the sound quality of a pretty solid hardware studio and everything pre-engineered for you and a really great workflow and live effects and a mastering chain and channel effects, it's actually a steal. So in any case, we offer a money-back guarantee. So if this doesn't work for you, you have 30 days to return it to us, or actually you can't return it, it's software, but you can just, if it doesn't work for you, I trust you. I believe that if it's not for you, you'll just let me know and whatever, probably not use it, or maybe use some parts of it, whatever, it doesn't matter. But if you don't like it, if it doesn't help you, let me know and I'll refund you within the first 30 days because I want the stuff that we offer to be useful to musicians. If it doesn't help your musical journey, then it's cool. Happy to refund you. But so far our refund rate is like under 1%. People that try this and work with it and go deep really notice a jump in their music production quality, in the speed and efficiency with which they can work in the studio, and actually, and that's the most important thing, how much fun they can have while making music. So that's it from me today. Thank you very much for bearing with me through this pretty long video, but I wanted to show you all the details so you can get the most from this. I'm going to jam with this a little bit more just for fun, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.